Hi everyone. So there is actually one thing I do want to talk about, and it has to do with the amount of comments I'm getting talking about this guy, that man, using exclusively he, him for me, which I don't mind he, him, and I use it offline most of the time because it's kind of hard to tell people pronouns sometimes, and I don't hate them, so I don't want to discourage them completely. But I am not a man, and I use any pronouns. Actually, the label I found a couple days ago, actually, and what I'm found as my identity is a non-binary lesbian. And before anyone gets confused on how a person with no gender can be a lesbian, first of all, the definition I'm using is not a man exclusively attracted to not men. And second of all, non-binary does not always mean genderless. It's simply a word for identities that are out of the binary of male or female and not strictly one of them. So I use lesbian because it is relevant, and if it wasn't relevant, I would not be using it, and I wouldn't feel as happy or comfortable as I am so far. And a lot of people told me I'm somehow invalidating both of my identities by saying I'm a non-binary lesbian, and first of all, you don't know that. Second of all, if you're not a lesbian and you're not non-binary, if you're not a non-binary lesbian, then simply shut the fuck up for once and let us do what we want, because we're the ones who decide our identities. We're the ones who are in this community, and we are the ones who decide what our gender means and how we navigate it and who we're attracted to. Historically, lesbians have been non-conforming and have had a complicated relationship with gender since, I don't know, the beginning of time, probably Sappho of Lesbos herself or something. I am still not very versed on a lot of things because I'm just a baby lesbian, but I have not been a man and been non-binary since way before my other videos came out. So please stop misgendering me. I would be lying if I said I didn't care at all. I think that's it. Oh, another thing, if you're confused on why I take testosterone, which I will have for 3 years this August, so that's pretty cool. Trans people, and especially non-binary people, have different ideas of transitioning and what it means to them. Non-binary people don't have to be completely androgynous or completely masculine or even masc-aligned if that's what you think the opposite gender is. There is no opposite gender. Male is not the opposite of female, and female is not the opposite of male. And for a lot of non-binary people, both of these things can coincide and blur together. Especially when you're perceived as male a lot of the time. And to say that everyone who goes on testosterone who's non-binary or non-dysphoric will get dysphoric is pretty ignorant, because not all trans people want to look as close as a cis person as possible. That's not all of our goal. And especially not for non-binary people, because there isn't a goal. Our goal is ourselves and what makes us happiest, and so should everyone else's. If you don't understand something, then you can ask them politely. And a polite question is kind of an obvious thing. And if someone doesn't want to answer it, then you can just leave them be. It doesn't mean they're faking. It doesn't mean they don't actually know what they're talking about. It just means they don't want to talk to you, or maybe they don't feel safe answering you, or they don't even feel like they can explain it to themselves, so they're not really ready to share it with everyone else yet, and that's fine. You're not entitled to know anything about anyone else, and you're not entitled to know their past or their judgments or their observations or experiences. You just aren't. So even if they don't really understand, who understands themselves anyway? I have a lot of stuff about myself to unpack and examine, and that doesn't mean I don't know who I am. The same concept applies to anyone else. You don't have to be ready and willing to type out an essay about your personal life and your past and your conclusions and your worldviews just to be accepted. All you need to do is respect people's pronouns, leave them alone. You don't need to understand people perfectly. And whether or not someone transitions and the labels they use are none of your business and not your responsibility. You honestly, truly, completely don't need to understand people to respect them. You don't need to understand people point blank, and we're not going to understand everyone. Like, I don't understand what it's like to be cis. I don't understand how people can keep the names they were born with. I don't understand how people can like vanilla ice cream. And I don't need to. Am I saying vanilla ice cream shouldn't exist? Am I saying that everyone should be required to change their name when they turn 12? Am I saying that no one's allowed to be binary, and if you do, you're somehow deluded or deceived by a cisnormative society? No. I think people should think critically about the things they've blindly accepted in their lives, because it can be hurting you without knowing it, and you can be contributing to not just the hurt of other people around you, but maybe yourself. But I don't have enough time to talk about that, and it's not my point. Am I saying that, yeah, that vanilla ice cream shouldn't exist, and that people should switch to frozen yogurt, or shouldn't eat ice cream at all because there's a flavor that I don't like? No, that's fucking ridiculous. Why would the same concept apply to people's identities? Like, oh yeah, why would people flavor vanilla ice cream? I mean, why would people color vanilla ice cream if it's just vanilla? That's wrong and deceiving or whatever. People don't understand. It still tastes like vanilla. The flavor is still vanilla. The ingredients are the same. It's just pink. I don't know. Maybe we should all just get our just desserts and stop caring about what other people say. And if you don't like ice cream, get a popsicle. And if you don't like popsicles, make some brownies. And if you don't like brownies, then just eat cereal or something. I'm really hungry right now. Anyway, I'm a non-binary lesbian. Stop calling me a man. Thanks. Bye.